Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Reverend Leah Alvarado. I'm with New Thought Northern Colorado Center for Spiritual Living. So glad that you've chosen to spend this time with me today. Welcome to our weekly inspiration. And if you're here for the first time, or if you're here for the 10th time, or whatever, feel free to say hi in the chat. I'd love to connect with you and know who's here today. So today's each week, Tuesday, Thursday, if you've been following me, you know that I choose a different author and pick a passage from a different teacher, a New Thought author that I think will be inspiring. And I read that passage, and then we reflect on some questions, and I'll do a little prayer, and we end with an affirmative statement to take you in for the rest of your day and just enjoy your day in that energy. BJ, hi BJ. Nice to have you here. All right, so today's topic is Divine Intelligence Guides Me, and the passage is from This Thing Called You, a wonderful book by Ernest Holmes called This Thing Called You. And so I'm going to read the passage. So just take in these words. If you want to close your eyes and just take it in and just feel into what is being said here. Everything you have thought, said, done, seen, learned, or experienced has left an imprint upon your subconscious mind. The subconscious also contains memory images of your family life, your ancestral background, and the sum total of what the whole world has thought or believed. These memories are not dead things, quite the reverse. They are always active. But there is more to it than this. Just as you are being acted upon by your own memories, the mind of history, and your environment, you are also being acted upon by the mind of God, which is within and around you. Between this divine presence, this upper part of your being, and your outward experience, there is a field of subconscious reactions which have been gathered up throughout the ages. But you are a creator and not a creature. Today, you may be suffering from the effects of the race consciousness and your own beliefs, but today you can begin to change them. And say this: I know that I am one with God. I know that God in me is perfect. I know that my real nature is spiritual. I know that I exist in a boundless good, in a heavenly state, and in perfect being. I know that my mind is being acted upon by pure spirit. Divine intelligence guides me into peace, happiness, and success, into joy, love, and perfect life. While it is true that suffering exists in the world, that poverty and unhappiness have been the common experience of mankind, and also womankind, it would be an unwise person who would ascribe these negations to the divine will. Assume that the good which exists in the future already exists in the present. Therefore, to place your good in the future is merely to delay your entering into the kingdom of heaven now. It simmers down to the word goodness, to the concept of kindness, to the one presence which is love, and to the one principle which is law, to the one person which is God, and to yourself as a manifestation of this divine presence. So let's just take a breath as we take in these beautiful words. The vibration, you can feel the energy with which he wrote this. You know, if you've ever read any of Ernest Holmes' work, any of his books, my goodness, he's written so many, including the Science of Mind text. There's such passion and truth in what he writes. He truly was a mystic. And so this idea of being guided by the divine, being guided by this divine intelligence, and trusting that intelligence in our life, I think as humans, I've talked about this quite a bit, but this idea of trust is really a difficult one for us as humans, I think. Maybe it's just me, but I don't think it's just me. I think that we understand the concept and we understand the importance of it, and we hear it in our spiritual circles and our communities. And there are moments when we can do it, and then there's moments when we just can't, trust. We can't put our trust fully and our faith fully into that divine intelligence and know that we are being guided. We know it as a concept, but to actually feel it. So I'd love any comments in the chat of your own journey with this. And I have a couple of questions for us to get us started. Oh, what page is that quote? Yeah, BJ, that is, well, I started reading on page 60. So it goes 60 to 62 is where I was reading. Yeah. All right, I'm going to put the questions in the chat and let's look at these together. So the first question is, when have you experienced divine guidance and dismissed it or didn't trust it? You received it, it came in through meditation, or sometimes it just comes in from, when you least expect it, and when you dismissed it, when you just didn't trust it for whatever reason. And what was that experience for you, and how did it feel? And was this, maybe this was an earlier part of your spiritual evolution, or maybe it was yesterday. Yeah, curious what your experience with that has been. So BJ, you're saying here, when I think trust must be earned. Okay. Can you say a little bit more about that? About what you mean by that? And then there's those experiences when we've experienced that divine guidance and we followed it. We completely we came in, we felt it in our being, in our heart. We knew and trusted that it was the divine speaking to us, and then we followed that guidance. What was that like? What was the result of doing that versus dismissing it or pushing it away? We've all experienced both. If we're on a spiritual path, we've all, at one point or another, we've done both, right? We have dismissed it, we've not trusted it, we've second-guessed it, and then we've also followed it. For whatever reason, everything's lining up and we just know, okay, this is something I need to follow. This is something that I need to pay attention to. That intelligence is always right there, is it not? It's with us, it's within us, it's around us, it's for us. It's like having this trusted partner that is standing right by our side. And it guides us to make decisions and choices that at the time we wonder, okay, is this what I should be doing? And then later we realize, oh my gosh, it was the perfect thing to do. It was the absolute perfect thing. And I'm so glad that I followed that. So BJ says, we go through life, sometimes we are brought up that we have to earn trust. Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah. And so we have to do this complete mind shift as you come into the spiritual path, as you learn these principles, you realize it's not something you have to earn, right? It's just something you have to believe in. You just have to believe and know that the divine intelligence of all that is here with us, is guiding us, is supporting us, is surrounding us, is enveloping us, wants us to have a life that is filled with joy and excitement and all the things that we desire, the divine wants for us. Every single thing that we desire and we want, the divine also wants that for us. Many of us were raised in other philosophies that didn't say this, that didn't tell us this. And so it takes us time to shift into a different relationship with trust, a different relationship with faith, from believing God is outside of us, that we have to beg or beseech for what we desire, what we want, instead of knowing that, praying from God and knowing that whatever we desire, it is done, it is already done in the mind and heart of God. And knowing that and affirming that and declaring that for our life. Your dad said he didn't trust you. Yeah. So it's those human interactions that we have that influence us, that influence how we see the world. And then we spend our spiritual lives unlearning those things, right? Yeah. So he's got some beautiful stuff here. Let's take this into prayer, and then we'll end with an affirmation. So right here, right now, we just trust. We trust and know that we are guided by that divine intelligence. We know this, like we know like we know that divine intelligence is there, whatever we want to move through right now in our life, whatever it is that we want clarity about, whatever it is that we want to shift or change within our heart, within our being, within our life, whether it be physically, emotionally, spiritually. I am knowing right here, right now, that we are just letting go, that we are letting our arms just fall back and receiving all the good that the divine wants to give to us. We are receiving it gladly, joyously. And we just say, thank you, Spirit, thank you, life, thank you, God, for always showing up, for showing up in my life in expected and unexpected ways, for reminding me in this moment to trust and let go. For we know that divine intelligence, that powerful presence of Spirit is there by our side, is guiding us to make decisions and choices that are for our highest and greatest good. And I am knowing that we are able to hear that we are able to feel that we are able to know exactly what we need to do next. The divine ideas are flowing into us. The divine guidance is being received. We receive it with an open and full heart, and we just simply say thank you. And so feeling that gratitude in our heart for this connection, for this trusted partner that is always there, always accessible, we say thank you. We feel that gratitude and we release this, knowing it is already done in the mind and heart of God, that whatever guidance we are desiring, whatever support that we are requesting, it is done. It is absolutely done. And we declare this to be so right here and right now. And so with that, we take a deep breath, feeling that knowing within our being, feeling the light and the love and the presence of Spirit that supports us always, that loves us always and in all ways. And so with that, we simply declare, and so it is. Amen. So I'm going to put our affirmation in the chat. It's a little bit of a long one today. This is taken from the same chapter. It's on page 62 in this thing called You. Today I enter into my kingdom of joy, into my inheritance of happiness. I know that every good purpose which I entertain is already accomplished. I know that every constructive demand or request I make upon the universe is already granted. I know that I am governed by divine law. I know that I'm inspired by divine intelligence and guided by divine reason. I'm going to read that last part again. I know that I'm governed by divine law. I know that I'm inspired by divine intelligence, and I'm guided by divine reason. So taking one last deep breath. You have this affirmation. You can cut and paste it and put it on your wall. You can print it out and use it and repeat it to yourself. That's why I put them in the chat, so that you can use them, or any part of the affirmation that really speaks to you, and say that throughout the day to inspire you and to remind you that you are guided, that you are always guided and supported by that divine intelligence. I wish you a beautiful, blessed day filled with love and all good things. I look forward to being with you again on Thursday. Namaste. Bye, everyone.